friends. So today we are this whole week we're going to be learning about Antarctica. So let's look at our continent globe to remind us of our continents. The last time I saw you, we studied North America. So let's sing our continent song. North America, South America, Africa, Europe, and Asia. Don't forget Australia. Don't forget Antarctica. These are the 7 continents of the planet Earth. Okay, so we're going to focus on Antarctica. But today we're going to learn about 2 places. We're going to learn about a place way up north by the North Pole called the Arctic. And then we're going to learn about the place that is on the opposite side of the Earth, way down south at the South Pole, called Antarctica. And both of these places have some similarities. Because before we've talked about how the head and the feet of the Earth are so cold. And right around the middle that we were calling the belly, it has a special name called the equator. It's super hot because that's where the sun shines the brightest. And the sun shines the least. It gets the least amount of heat on the North Pole and the South Pole. So we're going to talk about those areas called our polar areas because they're super cold. So today you're going to need your map that looks like that so that we can talk about the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, so you have your paper. You will need a pencil. And today I'm going to use crayons and colored pencils. But you might choose to just use crayons, or you might choose to just use colored pencils, and that's okay. So let me change my camera so that we can start by writing our name on our paper. Ashley. And I showed my friends last week how to write your name like an adult by starting with a capital letter, and then all the rest of the letters are lowercase in your name. And the reason we start names with capital letters are because your names are special. So anything that's very special has to start with a capital. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do on my paper is I'm going to color my continents. So for my continent coloring, I think I'm going to use crayons. Let me start with orange for North America. We live on North America. I think this right here must be our Great Lakes. So I'm going to save that to color blue for the water. Okay, we have North America and South America is pink. Green for Africa. Europe is red. And Asia is our largest continent, and it is yellow. Australia is brown. It doesn't look like I have my brown crayon, so I'm going to use my brown colored pencil. Okay, in Antarctica, I'm going to leave white. North America, South America, Africa, Europe, and Asia. Don't forget Australia. Don't forget Antarctica. These are the 7 continents of the planet Earth. Okay, so I have all my continents colored. Now I'm going to color my water. There we go. When I color water like this, I kind of turn my crayon to the side, like I'm rubbing my crayon on my paper. This isn't normally how I hold my crayons. Normally I pinch and put a shelf and I use my fingers to color and my wrist, but this time I'm just gonna keep my crayon to the side like I'm kind of rubbing it across my paper. I'm also not pushing very hard. I'm keeping it really light. So it's like a light blue. Okay, I have my blue watercolored. Okay, now I do want to make I'm going to make a pole to show the North Pole and the South Pole. But these aren't really poles that exist, that are there. They're kind of imaginary, and we use them to mark locations, but they're not really there. Like the line around the middle of the Earth called the equator, there's really not a line around the middle. It's an imaginary line to show where it's the hottest on the Earth. So these poles are going to show the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, and I'm going to color my North Pole red. And next to my North Pole, I'm going to write N, P, capital N, capital P, to show N for North, P for Pole, North Pole. Then I'm going to color my South Pole blue. Dark blue. And I'm going to label the South Pole with an S for South and a P for Pole. South Pole. Okay, so we have the North Pole and the South Pole. And remember, these are the coldest parts on our Earth. Remember, we talked about how it's cold at the head and at the feet. So the North Pole would be like the head of the Earth. Very, very cold in the North Pole. And the South Pole would be like the feet of the Earth. So cold in the South. So a lot of people mix up the animals that live in the North Pole and in the South Pole because they're so cold in both places. But the animals that live in the North Pole will never meet the animals that live in the South Pole. They're too far away. So on the bottom of our paper it says polar bears and penguins will never meet, because the polar bears live up in the North Pole and the penguins live in the South Pole. And they will never meet each other because they live in opposite parts of the Earth. So let's go ahead on the top here and draw a polar bear in the North Pole and a penguin in the South Pole. Let's start in Antarctica, which is in the South Pole, with our penguin. So I'm going to draw a penguin down here. I think I'll be able to draw it right on my continent. So I'm going to do a little half circle and another one. Then I'm going to draw the flippers of my penguin. 2. I'm going to draw the eyes and a triangle beak. There are the feet of my penguin. Okay, I'm going to color my penguin in black because I know the feathers of a penguin are black. I'm going to keep the feathers in the middle here white and some of the feathers around the face white too. I'm going to make my feet orange and color my beak orange too. Okay, there's my penguin in Antarctica, which is the South Pole. Okay, now let's draw our polar bear up in the North Pole near North America. Okay, I'll make a round body, and I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4 legs. And the head of my polar bear with an ear. There's my nose, my eye, and my mouth. And I'm gonna leave my polar bear white, because I know that polar bears have white fur. Okay, so polar bears live up in the North Pole, and they call this part of the Earth the Arctic, that's up near North America, and the North Pole is in the Arctic, and our penguins down here in Antarctica, our cold continent, that's in the South Pole, that the South Pole is at the bottom with Antarctica. Okay, let's see what other animals we can draw that will never meet. So we know polar bears and penguins will never meet because the polar bears live in the Arctic and the penguins live in Antarctica. Let's see, what's another animal that will never meet? Well, in the North Pole, they have an animal called the Arctic fox. Say the Arctic fox. We have the Arctic fox at our zoo. I wonder if you've ever seen them. So let's draw our Arctic fox up in the North Pole. Okay, I'm going to start with a circle here. And then I'm going to add a circle for the head. I'm going to do a triangle right below the neck, and then let's make that big bushy foxtail. Okay, so far I have the head, the body, and that big bushy foxtail. I'm going to do triangle ears. Let me make my eyes. And my nose. My mouth is going to come off my nose, and then I'm going to do something here where I make a line from the nose to the eye to kind of show the pattern on the face. Okay, and then let's make its front legs because it's kind of sitting on its bottom and its legs are there. Okay, there's my Arctic fox. And if you've seen them at the zoo, you know that the Arctic fox has white fur just like the polar bear. Okay, and in the South Pole, I am going to draw an animal that is the orca, an orca. And an orca, a lot of people call them orca whales, but orcas are more related to dolphins than whales. They call them killer whales as a nickname, but an orca is more related to a dolphin. So we'll make the orca's body, and then we'll make the tail. Okay, and there's my orca's mouth, eye, and the belly of the orca is white. They have some white spots on them, and you'll be able to recognize orcas because they look black and white. They have a lot of black on their bodies with some white parts, like their belly is kind of white, parts of their head. Okay, there's my orca, and I drew my orca here because orcas live in Antarctica by the South Pole. Okay, so far we have our polar bear, our Arctic fox that live up in the Arctic by the North Pole, and we have our penguin and our orca that live in Antarctica at the South Pole. Okay, let's see if we can draw two more animals. Let's start in the North Pole again, and let's draw a type of whale called the beluga whale. Okay, there's my whale body. I'm going to make a blowhole here. And there is my beluga whale. And beluga whales are white as well, just like the polar bear and the Arctic fox. So I'm going to leave it blank because my paper is white. Okay, let's see if we can think of one more animal that lives in Antarctica. Okay, I am going to draw something called krill. Say krill. Krill, they're kind of like shrimp. They're a shrimp-like animal. So I'm going to draw a little body. They live in the ocean. And they have lots of legs and a long tail and a really large eye. And krill they're kind of pink and parts of them are see-through. So I'm going to make this krill pink. And krill live in the ocean in Antarctica, and lots of whales and other animals in the ocean eat krill. Okay, so the animals that live in the North Pole will never meet. These Arctic animals will never meet these animals that live in Antarctica because they're on opposite sides of the Earth. Something I want to show you about the Arctic animals that I think is interesting, a lot of them, the ones that we drew, are all white because up in the Arctic where it's very cold and snowy, their white fur and white feathers and skin help them to camouflage in the snow so they can hide from their predators. Or the polar bear can blend in when it's hunting other animals. So it helps them to either catch prey or it helps them to hide from predators that are trying to eat them. Okay, and Antarctica has lots and lots of different penguins, chinstrap penguins, emperor penguins. It has the Orca and it has krill. Antarctica is an island, so it's a piece of land that's surrounded on all sides by water. And Antarctica is so cold that the only people that live there are scientists. So we're going to talk a lot this week about Antarctica. We are not going to talk about the Arctic anymore, but I wanted to show you the difference between the Arctic and Antarctica because so many people mix up the two. So many people think polar bears live in Antarctica, and they do not. And a lot of people think penguins live up in the North Pole and the Arctic, and they don't. So, we're finished with our work today, and we'll learn tomorrow more about Antarctica, the South Pole of our Earth. Okay, friends, have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye.